Wondering as well what kind of position 1 NoPing goes for this game, because we've seen a lot of Gyrocopter recently, we've seen a lot of Luna coming out, the Medusa hasn't been banned out either by Undying yet, so all these options have been left open for HFN. I'm wondering what he does decide he wants, as we have seen all 3 heroes being picked up quite confidently from NoPing. None of them banned out yet, which is very surprising. We've seen them constantly take the Luna Gyrocopter whenever it is free and available to be picked up.
Oh yeah, and I think in this case, when it comes down to those HFN heroes, the Luna's probably looking really juicy. Eclipse doesn't care about the Wukong's command, although you will have to watch your spacing, but the magic damage deals with Monkey King really nicely. It's just a hard hero to sort of deal with as well if it comes down to free farm. So that means you should expect Undying to have to take the offensive here and try to shut down that map as usual against HFN. HFN's just that kind of carry. You know, he sits back, he farms, he comes out 20 minutes farm like a madman, and it can be hard to punish that if it just runs through. Undying, though, you pick the Bloodseeker, which is one great way of handling the Timbersaw, but NoPing just jump immediately into the Viper. So a lot of aggression coming out here, lots of back and forth, and lots of good damage coming out. Like Monkey King plus Bloodseeker, you've got the Wukong's Bloodright coming out. You don't have the best of hold right now, though. Like, there's nothing to set up and keep people in those areas in that AoE. So they're going to have to find something perhaps here in the pause 5 that helps them get some hard control out. It should still be easy enough for the Timbersaw to zip around as long as he isn't ruptured. And that could be an issue if he's allowed to just dictate how the fight goes.
Yeah, perhaps. Undying, 30 seconds reserve time left. They've been thinking quite a bit during the earlier stages of this draft. They are going to go for the Mirana pickup. Fair enough. This is a very popular pick to be made here from Undying. NoPing Esports, though, still yet to pick up that mid lane and the safe lane, unless they're running the Viper mid, which I suppose is a high possibility right now. So maybe just go for the POS 5 support if it's not going to be if it is going to be a core Viper. Alright, they'll go for the Medusa pickup first. Right. So maybe that is not going to be a core Viper. It's open for debate. But they do end up getting the Medusa, which we always see teams banning out during the second phase of the ban phase. Undying probably knew this was coming. I mean, every other team seems to know and they seem to ban it out. Is it looking like a good Medusa game to you so far, John? Because it does to me. It looks pretty free to me so far.
Yeah, you have issues fighting into Stonegaze here. Like Monkey King, he might enjoy fighting these tanky heroes. He could also build Diffusal if you're actually worried about the mana shield. But when Stonegaze is popped, even if you're in Wukong's, the Medusa should just be able to run away. They've got a lot of heroes on hand already on NoPing to ensure the Medusa sort of stays safe in the backline. Instead, Timbersaw can take the front. Viper can take the front. The Nyx can set up for these fights first. And we still have to see that mid pickup. So NoPing have sort of drafted themselves a pretty darn good Medusa draft. You just have to ensure that your Medusa can get the Stonegaze off before anything else. And Undying don't necessarily have the easiest way to initiate on the Medusa. Maybe once you get the Yules on the Mirana, you can Yules arrow set up and just try to burst her down before she can get spells out. You've got great follow-up for that combo, but just catching the Medusa out here can be tricky. However, you can run around the map quite quick. Monkey King, if it takes a more active role here, can be aggressive and look into that jungle to prevent that farming pattern coming out from HFN. So there are some possibilities here for Undying, but you definitely want to play that fast game. You don't want HFN to just get free farm. Every single time NoPing comes out on top, it's when HFN has a really good game, and it's very rare he has a bad game. He just always finds that farm, and Medusa is just one of those natural flash farmers here.
That it is. Last pickup is going to be the Tiny, so classic NoPing right now. Just probably going to run the mid Tiny, honestly. I don't see a position 5 Nyx Assassin being run. I think they're going to run support Viper as well, along with the Nyx, and just run a mid Tiny instead. Maybe just throw the Medusa into the safe lane, but we'll leave it open and see what happens with NoPing Esports. Undying for now, final pick for them. They need to play fast. They've got a draft that plays fast. Looks like you might want something that takes objectives a bit faster, perhaps, for Undying. So I don't really see any great tower hitters on the side of Undying right now, and it's just going to be important for them to be able to take those towers pretty early on up against this Medusa. Looks like they'll get the SF, which is sort of doing that job anyway. I'm pretty sure Moon Meander had some words to say about SF when they do pick it up in an interview once, but it won't matter. They go back to it. Bryle is going to be feeling very confident on the Shadow Fiend, John. How do you feel about the SF, though? Is this a good pickup?
They've got to play really fast in Undying. We've seen an SF pick here in the BTS Pro Series fall flat, and when you get this hero, if you're going for the Yule's Blink combo, you have to ensure you find those kills. This does give them really good burst to handle Medusa. The Fear is really nice control to kind of build off of Blood, right? Build off of the Wukongs, but they have to play around that timer, and Undying have to secure that mid lane. It's so sensitive for the Shadow Fiend. He can, of course, still play catch-up in the jungle, but he wants to be ahead. So you need to ensure that Bryle gets his bottle refilled. He always has to kind of contest those power runes as they come up. Fortunately for Undying, Moon Meander and Mirana should get that job done. He's got a lot of presence early on. Compare that to, say, NoPing rotating Pandaboo's Viper. Not a particularly strong rotation. I mean, it has good damage. It's fairly slow and only really has damage, no real control. So it's easier for Undying to contest, and they need to build that foundation here for Bryle. Play fast, hit their item timings, and try to prevent HFN from farming. That's really the key. They have the lineup to get that done. They just need to be able to truly shut down HFN, because, again, every time he has a good game, he just bounces back and carries his team on the back.
That he does, John. We'll get into a game number 1 between Undying and NoPing. This is certainly going to be the hardest matchup, I think, for NoPing so far. Let's see how they do manage to perform here up against this North American team, which almost made it to the major, by the way, John. Very, very close.
It's looking spicy.
See, I thought to myself maybe it was weird that they didn't end up banning the Medusa, but perhaps Undying just feel overly confident with themselves. Maybe just even feeling like the Medusa is just going to be easy pickings for them.
I mean, can be. They just got to really apply that aggression. You can see that sort of happening here. 3-man rotation bot for dropping that aggressive ward, and this ward should allow them to maybe snipe some couriers, maybe, get a rotation out in HFN from the behind. And that's just what they need to do. Medusa laning is not amazing, no matter what support you toss in there. And the supports here for NoPing are also fairly greedy. Viper needs levels, Nyx needs levels, so they're gonna have to get a hit somewhere in that EXP gain, and that's gonna hurt any of these heroes.
They're gonna spot him out, the Tiny in the mid lane, but they're not gonna be able to really get a chance to take him out. Dark Mago being very careful, just by that tier 1 tower, making sure he does not get caught. This initial rotation, not going to pan out from Undying. Look at that, down to that bot lane, John. He's just running as a courier straight through the tier 2 tower. I thought he was going to go ahead and body block the creep wave and try to force his own creep wave into the tier 1 tower of the Radiant, but it looks like that is not going to be the case. In fact, they found Matthew now. Tomato just going to go ahead and join Dubu. Matthew's still going to be okay. Looks like he should be just fine to run away. He's just going to take a lot of harassment here from Dubu. And ultimately, the Tomato Monkey King also going to TP up top lane to go up against Oscar and Pandaboo. So I've got to say, John, that really doesn't look like the most fun lane to be in. Up against the Viper. Maybe Dubu can try and do something about this. But Tomato may struggle a little bit.
Yeah, the initial levels aren't going to be pretty for the Monkey, of course. He would like this matchup against Timbersaw, mainly because, again, Jingu is just something you build up on the Monkey. But considering that you've got the Viper already zoning out Dubu, there's not much you can really do in the initial levels. And Dubu has to be careful trading like this. Once you get stacks of the poison attack up, you just melt.
Looks like he's dead, Dubu. I don't think he gets out of this. He's trying to juke it out and use the Fog of War. Tomato's going to come in with the Boundless. Is it going to be enough? No. Pandaboo does get the first blood already, and now Tomato's in a spot of danger. Whirling Death and Chains are out. And Tomato He might just barely get away, but no. Oscar, another whirling death, and already 2 kills the way of NoPing.
Yeah, it's a bit risky when you come in to counteract a Viper. Level 1 poison attack, he can just focus on the harassment, and that's where the strength of the Viper support comes in. And those 2 heroes TP top, right? Like, they TP'd out. Fortunately, you do have the TP back up on Tomato, so he is just going to be able to get back into the lane. But that's a great start for NoPing already, setting up for a smooth ramp up on Oscar. He did not go for reactive yet, as he had to go for that burst damage, but all things are still looking good here, as Tomato doesn't really have Jingu as well, so there's no potential there to build up any stacks just yet.
No, there is not. Well, mid lane, you've got Brawl up against Dark Mago, and both heroes doing pretty darn good for now. Both on 11 CS. A couple more denies there for Dark Mago, but as the levels go up, it should get a lot easier for Brawl on the SF. For now, he's only got level 1 of the souls. Just trying to abuse the razors as much as he can. And down at the bot lane, you've also got HFN and Matthew up against Saberlight. Looks like Moon Meander just focusing in on maybe getting some stacks going. He's been in the jungle for a bit. And he's going to make his way back over. But it looks like HFN's not really having too tough of a time here on this Deucer either. He's
No.
farming pretty nicely.
Yeah, they can't really zone out the Medusa. Has good self-sustain with a Mystic Snake. The Bloodseeker can maybe try to go in for a couple of hits, but without Moon Meander around, it's a bit difficult to commit. They are at least getting more EXP onto Saberlight, and they're contesting the pulse quite nicely. But so far, not as many aggressive moves here for Undying, especially when you compare it up top. Like, there's just so much more aggression. And speaking of...
Well, Dubu gonna kill off Pandabu. Pandabu gets Tomato, and now Oscar ends up finishing off Dubu. But again, they come out on top for NoPing. Nothing really happening here for Undying apart from that Viper death. But even then, you don't really mind too much of your Pandabu. It's going to be a very tough time if this keeps up. I mean, HFN's not having a similar issue right now. He's still just farming. So you're going to start to think Tomato is going to fall behind on this Monkey King quite a bit.
Yeah, you have to worry about that. Like, you specifically picked the Monkey into Timbersaw. The lane's not working out well. And the power runes are coming out, and Pandabu's already in a good spot to pick it up for Dark Mago.
Nice toss back into the Impale now from Matthew. And now Bryle's going to die. And Pandabu, he's not going to allow Dubu to get the double damage rune. Dark Mago, he's going to go ahead and secure it himself now on the bottle. Ooh, and this just, every single lane just does not seem to be going the way of Undying at all so far.
No, it really doesn't, and I'm surprised NoPing is getting this much value from Pandabu. Like, I mentioned that his rotation potential isn't amazing, but he still secures that power rune, and they're going to go again onto Tomato.
Yeah, I mean, this is that point where the Timber just is way too far ahead now. Almost level 6 on Oscar, and it's very hard for the Monkey King to contest this lane any longer. So at the early levels, yeah, you can kind of win it out, but as the later levels come up on the Timbersaw, it gets kind of hard. And now Oscar, level 6, is going to make it absolutely impossible for the Monkey King. And I wonder, yeah, Tomato, he's not even going to go back up top. He's going to run right back down bot and try to lane there instead. There is just no point even trying with the Timber anymore.
Yeah, it's just impossible, and he might be able to get more down bot, but now you're going to be sharing that lane with a Bloodseeker. Saberlight's going to have to take the backseat and farm. Not an ideal situation for Undying, and they need this lineup to run fast. Like, they're not getting enough to build up into a snowball against HFN. I mean, even that mid lane we were seeing was just not lining up. Maybe they play aggressive here with Tomato around. They could set up for arrows if they want.
Yeah, they're going to try. Boundless is there, but the arrow doesn't connect there from Moon Meander, and now they might just turn right back around. They can't get through the mana shield, and Tomato!
Oh, no.
Not Tomato! Oh, again, they get the Monkey King. John, he hasn't even got brown boots up yet.
Oh no, it's a bad time now for Undying. NoPing just on point for the counter rotations coming in. Very good response here from Dark Mago. He still has the DD. Dubu.
What is happening? NoPing. Like, this is just such a dominant game already. 8-1, 2k net worth lead for NoPing. It's not even close so far.
No, And this is difficult now for Undying. You have an SF who needs to farm, you have a Monkey King who needs initial farm, a Bloodseeker as well who needs levels, and Oscar just finds these solo kills. Like, Mirana TP's up top, Moon tries to clear out the wave and just dies for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone should be TPing up to Oscar anymore. Saberlight's going to be there, but he is going to be 2 levels behind. Almost 3 levels behind, in fact. Oscar could just run him down. Excuse me. He's got Chakram up.
Oh, Saberlight.
Saberlight's gone. He can't survive this.
What? Why are they coming up here?
Well,
He's
somebody's
level
going
8 now.
Somebody's going to take the lane, John. Well, nobody's going to take it now. I mean, I'm sure they've all come to the realization that nobody can lane up against Oscar anymore. So he's level 8. He's probably... Yeah, he's further than Bryle. He is a higher level than the mid SF right now. That's... Even the mid tiny. Bryle's going to come up and try. Arrow, not going to connect. At least the Razors do quite a bit of damage. And now the Boundless Strike is out. They have all come up to deal with Oscar, but he's still chaining away. They should have the damage, though, with the last raise, and they do. Pandaboo trying to fight back here up against Moon Meander. Is maybe going to kill the Mirana, but no. Verify is up. Moon Meander is going to be fine. And so they do all secure the Timber kill together.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important kill to find, but now you have a free farming Medusa. HFN just has all the space in the world to farm down bot, pushing that tier 1. Timado can't even come up to contest the wave, although with a wand, I guess he's going to survive, but you can see how much damage he takes just from the max level Mystic Snake. You don't want to have to deal with this Medusa. And HFN, level 8 now as well, should just be able to start farming in the jungle if he receives pressure. Whereas Undying, you take a look at that top jungle, it's shared between Bryle and even Saberlight just making their way through. So there's not enough farm yet to recover, but they can play around with a spike in the SF. He's looking strong. He's got Requiem ready to go if he wants it. And they can at least counteract the Timber Saw, but it takes 4 heroes, and that's not the ideal situation still for Undying.
No, I mean, if you're Oscar and you're seeing 4 heroes coming up at, before 10 minutes into gank you, you're pretty happy about the amount of time you're wasting from the other team. Yeah, Undying, they are literally just stuck in the jungle waiting to see if Oscar's going to show back up. He does, but not quite in the lane yet. He's probably unwilling to die again on this Timber. Moon Meander going to show himself in the lane, but I think it's about that point where Oscar could just return as everybody else has kind of just disappeared. They can't stay there forever. Eventually this mid lane is going to start pushing in, and they've got to be able to address that as well. Bryle's going to be around. Saberlight going to show up there as well with Dubu. They have the Rupture. So they might try and use it straight away and try to get a kill out of it. Smoke up now. Dark Mago and Pandaboo are going to start rotating into the die triangle. Bryle has been found out. Avalanche is going to be there. Into the toss back on Pandaboo. That is going to be a dead SF. Moonlight Shadow not going to be there in time. Arrow going to be juked out as well. They might try and do something, but it looks like the team fight just isn't worth starting right now. Even dragging Tomato in on the Monkey King, but he's just level 6.
Yeah, it's not enough. I mean, you lose your SF, and again, it's such a sensitive hero to these timings that every single death really starts to slow down that pace. They do get us around here, though.
They do. Rupture out into the Wukong's. HFN going to run right out of the Wukong's command. And now he's just going to turn around and fight back. They've already killed off Tomato with the Avalanche Toss. They're trying to raise down the Deucer. But now the Impels there on Bryle with the Poison Touch and the chains forward from Oscar. They're going to find him again. Even Dubu not going to escape. Dark Mago has the blink up into the Shredder of Oscar. 4 down again for Undying. And you start to ask yourself, John, and I know this is very early, but Undying, they might call an early GG at this rate. I mean, it's looking like a really poor game.
Oh, it definitely is. Have to give a shout out here to Matthew. Like, he came in, got the spike carapace off on that last raise, and that was enough to break off Ryle. They might have found that kill on HFN if it wasn't for Matthew. So it all lined up there once more from NoPing. They just have all the movement out. And remember, that was HFN without Stone Gaze. He just picked it up at level 10. So now the next time you try to rotate onto HFN, if you don't get the stun off first, he is going to have Stone Gaze, and that just complicates the chase down on a Medusa. Undying, they're going to be stuck in this top jungle. There are no forward wards here from NoPing. So at the least, they're not being monitored in their own jungle, but there are 4 heroes here. Like, there's not enough to feed the machine that, you know, these 3 cores need to have running. There's just simply not enough space to get a Monkey King, to get an SF, to get a Bloodseeker online in time to keep that aggression up. I mean, Undying's been playing aggressive, yes. Just not in a successful way, and NoPing now, they're just feeling so confident that they keep constantly smoking out and playing with a Vendetta and the Blink.
Well, it feels like they absolutely should be smoking out. I mean, they know how big of an advantage they've got.
Oh, Ryle.
Oh, it's a big kill. Avalanche toss is there. Matthew can just hit him once. They even found the courier of Tomato just to add salt to the wound. Hell, they're heading for the Roshan pit now, but no, Tomato. That's the one they want. Dark Bear goes invis again as well, John. Oh, and he got the tree, Tomato.
Oh, no.
Got spotted out, into the toss, into the impale. He's gone.
Oh, boy. This is just messy. Undying, they're losing all their big cores. They're just trying to get what they can from the side lanes. But now you're at the point where HFN is just invading that triangle. He's got his SNY flying out. He's got 2 Wraith Bands. Power treads up. This is a very tanky Medusa early on and can take these early fights. So even a rotation to commit onto HFN is probably not enough.
No.
Career Scout?
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't spot Moon.
Moon Meander right in the corner there, just leaping into that tree line. Dark Mega really wanting the Mirana kill, but is not going to be able to get it. Now HFN's got an SNY up, and he hasn't even taken the stacks yet. So he goes into the ancient stacks, and he's going to start to really escalate from here. And I was already questioning how they're going to deal with the Medusa during the draft phase, John, but as this game has panned out, I'm really wondering now how they're going to deal with the farm Medusa without any farm themselves.
Yeah, it's nearly impossible with how far ahead HFN is. It is just way too hard, and Tomato again just shows mid.
Oh boy, Impale gonna be out. I don't blame Tomato because there's nowhere to farm right now. Rupture's out from Saberlight. They might try and turn something, but there's no way.
They can't handle it. Right? Like, they're just going to chase back now. They know Rupture's down. They have a lot to play with. They can just blink in again and get the burst off.
Yep, Dark Mega looking for a target. Is maybe going to find Bryle. They ping him out. Avalanche is going to be there. Into the toss back. Onto Oscar. There you go. GG's called. They've had enough.
Jeez.
There is no way for them to come back into this game. I wouldn't have blamed them if they called GG 5 minutes ago. That's how bad this game went.
It went really poorly for Undying, but man, props to NoPing.
Yeah.
For just getting every single lane working out like that. The big thing that fell apart was top lane, right? Like, Tomato getting caught out twice. Once or twice there was just the big kicker that slowed it all down. If the Monkey King at least drew an even lane, you might have had enough room to drag out the game a bit more, play around, say, an earlier Wukongs would say Echo Saber up. Maybe he had an opportunity. But losing top along with losing mid and drawing at best on bot was not enough to counteract NoPing. And NoPing, they are looking way too good. You've got to be careful about these HFN picks, and perhaps we'll see Undying prioritize that now in the bans.
No, they're looking fantastic. We'll see if Game 2 is going to be any different. I think it is going to be a lot of it's going to be down to draft and how they change that up. But with that, it is MLP Donor and JohnXFire, and of course, we'll be back in roughly 10 minutes for our second game of this BO2.